morning, welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to make this little card with the dogs and the balloons, and then it's got a little pop-up happy birthday inside. So to create that today, we're going to use this So Much Happy bundle. So it comes with this stamp set with the balloons and all the sayings, and it's set around the die set. So the die set has this happy in it. It's got the bunting, a star. There's actually two sizes of balloons that I must have put the other one somewhere else. So you can see the two sizes of balloons there. These little stars, a little bow, some patterns, and this shape here, which I think looks like clouds. That's what we're going to use it for today, and a balloon string. The stamp set coordinates, so you've got these shapes that are cut out with the matching dies, and then these words obviously go with the happy. So you've got happy to celebrate you, so very happy, happy birthday, happy graduation, happy to have you in my life, and happy to know you. But obviously you could use those with different stamp sets or with this happy as well. And then the dogs we're going to cut from this Playful Pets design series paper. So you've got a lot of animals that you can either use as a background or cut out, and some backgrounds, and then all the ones on the other side. These are all backgrounds ones. You've got a couple of word ones, some stripes, some paws and fish, and some kind of fur type background. So that's really cute. So to create our card today, we're going to start off with a 5 1/4 inch card blank. This is made out of Seaside Spray cardstock. So it's 5 1/4 by 10.5 inches, and it's scored down the long side at 5 1/4 inches. So then I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock that will fit on top of that, and that measures 5 inches square. So to create the background, we're going to use sponge brayers. So I've got 2 sponge brayers here. You get 2 in a pack and 2 spare sponges. You can see mine are really well used, but that doesn't stop them from still being good. So I've got my 2 sponge brayers and I've got my 2 colours. So I'm going to use Granny Apple Green for the grass and Seaside Spray for the sky. So I'm going to start with the Granny Apple Green. When you're using the sponge brayers, you want to make sure you always ink it up in the same direction. If you do this motion, then you only ink up part of the brayer, and you'll end up getting a gap when you put it onto your cardstock. So I'm going to start off the page. I'm going to just brayer up. I'm going to do it nearly halfway. I'm just going to keep going. You see it gives like a nice texture. The more you brayer, the less texture you'll have, but I kind of want a bit of texture on mine because I want it to look like grass. And then I'm going to do the same for the sky. So I've got my Seaside Spray ink and my other sponge brayer, and just as before, I'm just going to do it all one way. And I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to brayer down. And then I want it a bit darker than that, so I'm just going to ink it up again. And then I'm going to start at the top again because I want the darkest colour at the top. And then we've got our sky and our grass. And that's a really lovely technique that you can use for lots of different scene type cards. So to create the clouds at the top, I've just used the cloud die, and I've cut pieces from a piece of Whisper White. This piece is Smoky Slate, and then this piece from Grey Granite. And I've done them all at different angles and out of different colours just to add a little bit of dimension. So then I'm just going to place them on here where I want them. And they're going to overlap a bit, but we can chop that off afterwards. So I'm happy with that placement, so I'm going to stick them down now. So I'll just grab a bit of glue. I like to use this Tombow multi-purpose glue. So I'll line that up there. I'm going to put on the Smoky Slate piece next. then add the grey granite bit on the top. Now just turn it over and snip off the pieces that overhang off the edge. So that's a background done. So I'll add the background to the front of our card. So we're going to have a card that opens this way, so a 10th fold card. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut out the dogs. And I'm going to just fussy cut the dogs from this paper here. So I used these 3 in my original card. I think I'm going to use these 3 in this one. So I'm going to leave a small white border around the outside, and the trick when you're fussy cutting, as you've probably heard me say before, is to move the paper and not the scissors, and then you get nice clean lines. So I've gone ahead and cut out the other 2 off screen so that you didn't have to watch me do that. So now we're going to create the balloons. So I've just got a small scrap of Whisper White cardstock here. So we're going to use a large balloon stamp first, and we need 1 real red one. And then I'm going to take the smaller stripy balloon, and I'm going to stamp 2 of those. So then there's coordinating dies for both sides of balloons, so I'm just going to tape them over and cut them out off screen using my die cutting machine. So then here are my balloons. So I can arrange those in the sky. So then I want to stamp, I'm going to use this stamp for the string to stamp some strings from the balloons down towards the dogs. So the string is too big for that, so I'm only actually going to stamp up part of the string, not the whole thing. And I'm going to use basic grey ink to do that. So I've got my basic grey ink here. I'm just going to ink up part of it like that. So you can see the ink only goes down to there. And then I'm going to just move those a little bit so that I can get it accurately placed. So I'm going to put that on there. And then I can put this one here. And then I'm just going to clean off the stamp. And I'm going to use it the other way up for the middle one so that they don't all curl in the same place. So now I'm going to glue everything down. So I'm going to glue this balloon at the top of this string. And I want the others to go like this. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the side of the smaller balloon so that I can arrange it how I want with the bigger one. So I want them to go like that. Then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of there. So that those ones stand up. So there we go. And then I can arrange my dogs at the bottom. So I'm going to glue the 2 at the back. I really love how happy they all look. They're really cute. And then I'm just going to put some dimensionals at the back of this one. So that's the front of our card completed. Now we can move on to the inside of the card. So for the inside of the card, I've cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 10¼ inches by 5 inches, and I've scored that in the middle at 5 1/8 inches. I've then just taken the happy die and I've laid that across, and I've made sure that the cutting line here lines up with the line that I scored in the centre of the card. So now we're going to bring in our trimmer, and I'm just going to line up the bottom of the happy with the cutting line or the scoring line on my trimmer. I'm just going to score the bottom of the happy because that means that the happy will stand up, and then I'm just going to score it. So the happy just measures just over an inch high. So then I would just want to score a line just over an inch above the happy. So I'm just going to score a line there. I want this to stand up, so I want the happy to fold this way, and then this will fold this way. So then the happy will stand up in the card like that. So let's glue this into the middle of our card. Just make sure it's up the right way first. So we just want to put glue on this section and this section, but not the piece that we scored or the happy, because those are the bits that will stand up from the card. And then we just want to put this on, just making sure that the top of the happy lines up with the score line in the centre of the card. So then we want this to fold flat like this. So we just want to press that into place like that, just so that it makes sure that it's in the right place. So then you can see our happy stands up. So to make it look a bit more interesting inside, I've got the birthday stamp from the coordinating stamp set and some basic grey ink. I'm just going to complete our sentiment by just stamping birthday under the happy. And then while I've got my basic grey ink out, I'm also going to stamp a string for our balloon up here. I think I want it that way round, but I don't want it all the way up, so I'm just going to ink up part of it like we did on the front. So I'm just going to put that up here. And when I cut the balloons for the front of the card, I also cut a pink one for the inside of the card. So I'm just going to stick that on above our balloon string. And then just to finish the card, I've cut the happy again out of a scrap of Flirty Flamingo cardstock. And I'm just going to cut the letters out. So I want to cut slightly below the line. You can see I've just left a little bit below the line there, because when we fold the card, if we cut it right on the line, it's not going to fold very well. So I just want to cut it slightly below. You can see I've just cut it slightly below. You can see the ridges that I've left on there. I'm just going to round off these P's so that they look a bit nicer. And then I'm going to do the same at the bottom. I'm just going to cut along, just leaving a small gap at the bottom of each. And I'm just going to stick a little bit of glue at the back of each of the letters, and I'm going to glue them onto our happy. So then you can see that we've got the lovely dogs on the outside and the cute pop-up happy birthday message on the inside. So that's our project completed for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked today's project, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below and subscribing to my channel so that you can see future projects. If you want to purchase any of the products that we used today, they're linked in the description below. There's also a link to my blog with the dimensions for the card on it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.